Welcome to an electrifying episode of Ruh Talks. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to have with us the one and only Mr. Ashok Rajagopalan, an artistic visionary, a masterful storyteller, and a true legend in the world of children's literature. With over 500 books to his name, he's redefined how we experience stories through vibrant illustrations and witty humor. We are also celebrating the Ruh Literary Fest, which honors the magic of literature in all its forms. Whether it's the power of words or the beauty of art, both of which Mr. Ashok has perfected. Mr. Ashok, it's a pleasure to have you here with us. How has your experience been at this year's fest? Is there a thought or insight you have been reflecting on that you would like to share with us?
One main thing which I was thinking to myself is children are very lucky these days to have a school like this, space. Leave alone having a literary fest. We didn't have this I'm 60 now. So in the 60s, I used to go to school. So we didn't have literary fests. And the spaces weren't as beautiful and massive as this. So the main thought which was in my head was the children are very lucky these days.
We truly are. You have transitioned from being a graphic designer to writing and illustrating children's books. How did that shift change your perspective? Did it influence the way you view storytelling as a medium?
What was the question? Did it influence?
The way you view storytelling. So from graphic designer, you went all the way to children's books. That must have been like a massive shift, right? So how did that go?
Actually, most of this wasn't by design. It was more, it just happened this way. When I became a freelance designer, and an illustrator. And then I happened to find myself doing more illustration for children's literature because I was, after many years, it's only 2006 I graduated into writing for children till I got the confidence and till I got the acceptance from the publishers because it's already there in the field. It was easy. It happened naturally. It was not planned or it wasn't a career strategy on my part or anything.
What sparked your love for drawing though? So even though you're a graphic illustrator or an illustrator for a children's book, you still have the passion for drawing. So did your journey through art shape your career? And who you are as a person? How did it start?
Too many questions at the same time, but I'll try. I might ask you to repeat the last question. The actual secret is I have the mental maturity of a 12-year-old. So children love drawing. As you grow older, you go to more practical things. So this stayed with me. So I continued to draw. So what was the second question?
The second question was, how did your journey with art change your career and you as a person?
Okay. This is a very difficult question to answer because I haven't been asked this in any of my interviews. As a person, I don't know how
your
it has
experience
changed
with art.
me.
What inspired you? How did you go down this path?
Okay, I'll tell you the major source of inspiration is a child dwells in a picture. An adult, and these days, adults, or I don't know about children, but it's like reels or videos, channels, one keeps changing channels. One doesn't dwell on things. But when it comes to illustration in books, children live there for a while. They wonder who lives in this house which is shown there. What if I follow this road? Where will it lead to? What's behind the hill? So what kind of home does this person goes to? So they'll actually dwell in a picture for ages. And I was a child like that. Every picture anywhere, even in posters and advertisements, I used to spend time with the picture. So that was a major inspiration. I wanted to give the same experience to other children.
It's a great feat that you've kept up with the times. Even in this digital era, your books are doing great works. It's doing the work of many people. So with the rise of AI and digital tools, how do you see the role of this traditional illustration evolving?
Okay. This threat, technology versus talent or technology versus skill, it's not a new one. At least this question I know the answer to. Okay. So I'll answer it very cleverly. Like photography, invented in 2 centuries ago, all the artists protested. Photos weren't allowed to be displayed because they thought it would kill art and painting and all that. Now, what happened? Abstract art happened. All kinds of new schools of painting happened. Surrealism and pure abstract art, cubism, impressionism. All this happened because people, the need to represent something that wasn't, that need had gone. So, so they happily went over and beyond realism. Actually, photography helped painting like that. In my times, I was a manual artist. I was drawing on paper and pencil. Then Photoshop happened. When Photoshop happened, designers suffered because those days when you have to design a logo or anything, you have to go to an artist. He has to draw it for you. But if you have Photoshop or Illustrator or any software, people used to design these themselves. So you didn't need an artist. So a lot of artists suffered actually. Designers and artists suffered because they didn't need the a basic drawing skill to be able to design things. So I've been through that. AI is a new thing, no? So I'm not scared of it. So I'll go. I think a good artist, whether he's a writer or a illustrator, will use AI to do even greater work. I think that's what is going to happen. There'll always be lazy people. Photoshop. A lot of people did lazy work with Photoshop, just using the effects and all. Very clearly, it's Photoshop. But the good artists use Photoshop to minimize the dirty work and do more creative things. So that is what is going to happen with AI also. For example, I use ChatGPT and Grammarly and all that as a friend. So I bounce ideas off, have a conversation with these, and actually very useful. I think it's a good thing.
Wonderfully said, sir. Wonderfully said. Continuing on your passion for drawing, as someone who enjoys to draw but isn't really skilled at it, what advice would you give to those trying to improve?
First, I'll try to give that person some confidence because I can logically prove very simply that suppose it's you.
Yeah, I
Okay. Can you write letters? You don't have to have great handwriting, but you can write the letters of the alphabet.
Yes.
Okay. Just think about this logically. Your brain and your body, when it writes a letter, it's actually drawing the letter. When you first wrote the letters, either in English or Tamil or numbers, you are actually drawing the letters with great difficulty. I used to draw them or write them all wrong. P, for example, I used to invert. So you have drawn the letters and you're calling it writing now because you have had lots of practice. You have drawn so many letters over the years, so it's like second nature to you. So is art to the artist. So once you know that, so you're capable of drawing. Once you have that confidence, after that, the thing is to break down a complex picture into simple components. Suppose there is, look at this light, it's a circle, the line. Each separate part of the light you can draw. But taken together, it looks forbidding. If I have to draw a person, it looks difficult. But when I not break you down literally into components and parts, it's easy for me to draw. So, and practice a lot with this confidence. You'll become an artist.
Thank you. That is such a different way. I've never thought about it like that. And thanks for opening my eye. So you've created over 500 children's book. It's a monumental achievement. What is it about creating those stories that brings you the most happiness?
By the way, the 500 books, it's not, I won't bet on it. Somebody first said 500 books. And then so I went and listed out my books about 5 years back. It crossed 300. But not written, illustrated. I would have written only about 20 books, to be honest.
But that is still a great achievement.
Just keep calling it 500. So it's all over the internet. So it's more than 300. And I'm also old. I forgot the second part of the question.
So it is like, what about creating these stories gives you happiness? Okay.
Like I always say, I'm a funny person. I laugh all the time. And my aim in life, my career goal is to make children laugh. So for that, I write funny stories and draw funny pictures. That inspires me. And when I come and do these sessions at Literary Fest, when I actually meet children, then I want to do more and more. So I get direct inspiration from the children I meet also.
So you actually answered my next question as well. So
Oh, I'm
inspiration
sorry.
directly comes from
I'm
children.
sorry.
No, that's great. That's great. Before we finish, I have two final questions. So the books I read were the best-selling books Gajapati Kulapati and my personal favorite Gulgul in Jungle.
Oh, thank you.
Both of them prominently feature animals, and I have even before this podcast, I have seen you talking about animals and being invested in it. So, what is special role does animals play? Do animals play in like, children's stories?
Remember, I told you that I have the maturity of a 12-year-old. Children love animals, so it stayed with me. I love animals. For example, we were all the family by tradition. We were not vegetarians, and this has been a big contradiction. So the last 5 or 6 years, I turned vegetarian because I couldn't marry the two concepts. There are cows in the neighborhood where I live, where I'm friends with many cows in the street, and goats and dogs. Sometimes I find somebody walking his dog. I'm more friends with the dog, so I scratch the ear. I don't even look at the person. I must have been offended. So I'm friends with all these animals. That was a major contradiction, which I ended by turning vegetarian. So no, that is not the answer to the question. The answer to the question is, I love animals because like a child, and I'm in this business, so I continue to love animals like all children.
So, speaking of which, can you afford to have a favorite animal, or do you have to treat all of them equally?
I like elephants and cows, and they figure majorly in my books.
So, as we wrap up, what's next for the great Ashok Rajagopalan? Are there any new exciting projects or characters we can look forward to?
I'm illustrating a book on the Indian Constitution, which will be out this month or the next. So, hopefully, it will be released on the Republic Day. Recently, there's this great author, Perumal Murugan, written mostly for adults. So, I have illustrated a book for it. Writing, I have to write the next Gajapati Kulapati. I'm aiming to have at least one Gajapati Kulapati book come out every year. 2024, I had a book come out. For 2025, I need to write a Gajapati Kulapati. So, I'm at work on that.
That's great to hear. I'll be looking forward to it. So, Mr. Ashok, your journey is a true testament to the magic of creativity. We can't thank you enough for sharing your stories and your wisdom with us today. It's been an absolute joy to have you on the show.
My pleasure to Kriya.
Okay,
Thank you.